and they put in the inspection amounts, when those inspection amounts synchronize back into AccuDraw, it'll automatically take that 80% and say, I will then calculate the draw. So that 80% of the line item is this much money, and you've already given them, let's say it's 80% of the line item is, it's a $10,000 line item, it's 8,000, but you already gave them 4, so now you're asking for another 4, so it'll put 4,000 in for the draw amount. So it automatically drives the draw amount.
So your phone, Steve?
Yeah, I just went on mute here. Yeah.
Okay. Steve's back.
So did that answer that question? Because I want to make sure that you're clear on.
Yep.
Okay. What else can I show you? Do you want to see how it interacts with each other or what?
Okay, so does this, so you always have to have internet access for this thing to work, it looks like, which is one sacrifice you've made by not doing an app. Like if we're down in the basement or something and this thing's not working, we have to walk upstairs. Is that accurate?
Oh. Do we always have the internet access?
I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. There's, yeah.
I'm just thinking of we cache. Because yeah, it has to refresh the page. Yeah. You're gonna have to have internet.
We've looked into maintenance apps on phones, and one of our things we learned in testing is that sometimes our maintenance people are in locations where there's no internet access, although less and less these days, and that was a problem with maintenance apps. But in any case, it's not a deal killer for us here. I just wanted to make sure. So you go ahead.
So that was propagation. Now, with the propagation that most everybody has now, I never even thought of it being in the basement. I guess I used to be an inspector a million years ago, probably back before, but when Ronald Reagan was probably, no, I'm just kidding. But I remember doing my inspections, and I don't remember being deep into the bowels of a commercial building as much as I was, when I was filling my stuff out, as much as I was, kind of taking notes and then, coming back. But I appreciate the fact that if we did have something on a phone, that if you lost internet connection, what I can tell you is if you had information in the system, okay, in that, like if you input anything in and it did disconnect, it saves it, okay? So if you reconnected, you wouldn't lose the record, okay? Because it caches everything every time you put it in as a save, okay?
That was going to be my
only redeeming.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question is if you've got like a video file to upload, it doesn't, kind of that probably can take a while. Whereas if you had
a video,
if you had an app, you would have the ability to have the app wait and then sync everything once you're back at the office on Wi-Fi or something.
Well, yep. I mean, yes, I do know that in the scenario that I use with the phones and response we've gotten, we've never had anybody call us up and say, they do know that when they batch upload, 15 pictures, it's going to be a 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and they're all up there. I mean, it's, it takes a while for them to register being sent up, but we have a pretty cool, encryption layer that we use, and we're going as fast as obviously the network will go. So yeah. You're right. I don't have anything that would cache a video. The only thing I could say is that you can always do all the inspection and then go back in and hit when you get back to the office and upload the video, because the video is automatically in your phone. You just upload it then hit submit. Yeah. So it would be at your convenience.
Yeah. Okay.
When you would do it.
All right. Good. So you are at the top of our list in terms of what we're thinking about buying. So if you have time, I'd like to take a little bit more of it. And oh, you still there? I fell off. All right, tell him I'll be right back. I don't know what happened. I want him to show us the other app features. Hold on, I'll be right there. I gotta dial in again. Hold on.
Please enter. To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash.
All right, I'm back.
There you go.
Sorry. How much time do you have, Tim? Can we go back and look at the main program again?
Yeah, absolutely. We were just having a laugh at the fact that no wonder you're worried about being in a basement. You lose internet connection in your house.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just know that can be an issue because we've been through it with our maintenance app testing. It was a few years ago. Hopefully things have improved since then.
Right.
All right, so let's the last time we spoke, I had to get off the phone because I had to go run to something. So I hate to do this to you, but I'd like you to just walk me through it again. And I'm going to take detailed notes here. And then we're probably going to buy the software. So this is not a bad use of your time.
Let me go ahead and just check my calendar real quick and make sure I have time to do what I do, because today is I have 2 days that I do a week that I do all my phone work.
Yeah.
So I have a hard stop, guys, at noon. No, I don't. No, that's another meeting that I don't have to attend. Great. So I don't have a hard stop.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from scratch. All right, Ian, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make you do the work for me.
Okay, good. I'd love to. You've been given control. Switch to desktop. I don't know what that means.
No, I think you can go ahead and just move your mouse on my. See if you can.
Yeah, but it's making me download some new client.
No.
Well, that's all right. It's all right.
We don't want to have to.
I don't know. It's okay. I wouldn't mind doing it. It's just going to take a second to install here. Just a second. I must have been using the browser-based version of GoToMeeting, and now if I want to control things, I have to use the desktop version. Just a sec. Almost done installing.
It's all right.
All right. Hello, can you hear me now? God, it just disconnected the phone call. I got to call back, Steve. Yeah, I'll call back.
To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN.
All right, now I'm back. All right, yeah,
There you go.
let me see if I can control this. You might need to give me control again.
Perfect, you're done. Okay, so right now, if you logged in to AccuDraw and you know logged in, and you would see all those projects that you are the processor on. And why you know that is because there's a filter button up here that says My Projects Only. So each processor has the option to just see those projects that he or she's working on. If they want to see all the projects that they're able to see in the database or in the portfolio, they would take that off. So if I'm Ian, I'm supposed to work with you today and you're going to lunch and you need me to do some work in one or two of your projects, that's how I would go out and see it. But otherwise, that's just all the ones that I'm responsible for. And we'll show you how you get assigned to those in a minute.
Sure.
You also can go ahead and assign different groups. So if you have a commercial group or a residential group or any type of groups that you want just to work in certain parts of your portfolio and not see other parts, then when you bring those users in, you can say they're part of this group and they only see those loans, whether they're on, and they only are working in that group of that portfolio at that time, whenever, okay? And then there's users that can see everything. So that's called an all user, okay?
Yep.
So that's why there's different groups here, okay? You're an all user, so you can see every portfolio. All right, so that being said, the colors mean something, and we'll go through what the colors mean as you go ahead and go through this.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have you add a project to this, to the project here, and that would be by doing what? Yeah, go ahead, click it. So what now happens is that will come up with some tab screens. Again, we're in the process right now. We have some engineers that are going to be redoing some UI on both the web and on the application. So what you're seeing now is going to only be better in the future. We always are improving. About once a quarter, we'll send out an update that has kind of new features. Never anything that it causes a new training session,
Yeah.
just always intuitive leads.
Okay.
All right. So project ID would be your loan number, and that's in that first yellow box with to be determined, TBD. So all you have to do really is just type. You don't even have to do anything. Yeah, you just can type. Okay. And then from there, anything that you want in these drop-down boxes, we'll hard code or soft code for you. Part of your UI experience is that you'll say, hey, Tim, love the program, but lose the maturity date, the appraisal date, the commitment date for us. We don't want them. We don't need the risk rating or the cost center. So all of that stuff, we can just go ahead and move furniture around so that you either use it or don't. If you want to rename something like, hey, we don't ever track sales price, but we love to have appraisal price there, then we can rename it. Okay. So that's kind of the bespoke tailoring part. So once you're done with that, let's go to address, the tab address, and okay, which is the next tab over right above your project number 1.
Tab address.
Okay. Now, obviously, you don't have to really worry about typing all that in, but that's obviously where the inspector is going to want to go. Okay, so that's important if you're going to use that inspection app, because they're going to need to know where that is. Entities, that's kind of interesting. We got to do that for sure. Primary borrower is going to be obviously the borrower. You can have as many borrowers as you want, okay? But we assume you're going to have at least one, and we call the first one or the primary one, and we'll put a grid together for that. I'm going to take over for a second because I'm going to show you how this works. If you double click on that box, okay, up will come like a little file cabinet, card on that, just sitting there. If I have somebody in the system, okay, all I have to do is start typing their company name or their last name, and in they can come. So that's how we can go ahead and save in a database all of the contacts that you have today. We could import, and then for all your subcontractors, for all of your, inspectors, appraisers, for your borrowers, builders, everything, they're all in a big database. Okay, so you can use those. And the nice things about that is then we have the ability to enable them on the internet.
Okay.
Okay. By enabling them, all we do is just click enable. Once we click enable, AccuDraw does everything else. It sends that person, okay, a web, it sends them an email. And the email is a pre-formatted email that basically says, congratulations, Tim Meyer from Any Bank and Trust has just now enabled you to be able to see your projects, okay, on the internet portal, the AccuDraw internet portal, and it gives them the username and password. Once they log in with that username and password, it's going to ask them to change the password. Okay, so everybody has to have a unique password.
Okay, so, and this could be borrower, inspector, title company. Who would want internet access?
Anybody. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll show you all that in just a
Okay.
second. You also have the ability to see all the projects this entity has been assigned to.
Okay.
Okay. And we also have a filing cabinet to go ahead and add those titles mean nothing, but the bottom line is that if it was a builder, you probably put a copy of their builder's risk insurance there, maybe some other documents that they have to have as an entity to deal with you. If they were an appraiser, it'd be their license, it'd be their insurance, you know, their E&O insurance or whatever, so that you would have that information available to you on any project at any time. Okay, so that's their entity filing cabinet. And there's a few other things, obviously. Who's your core provider?
Our core provider, what's that mean?
Mortgage office.
Okay, so I don't know how you disperse funds. We'll get into that a little bit, but we actually have a work with FIS and Fiserv and, you know, some of these big core providers to give the information from all the transactions over so that they can actually disperse the funds, do the Fed wires, do the transfers to DDA accounts.
Oh, you're talking about for servicing. Okay,
interface.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's the mortgage office at the moment, subject to change though.
Okay, but if there's any way we can help you tie into that, we've got a whole bunch of code written to help you with that.
Yep.
Okay, and it's pretty simple. That's why we would have the bank account number and why we'd have a bank name, a bank city name, ABA name, and any, you know, stuff, so we can help with that Fed wire. Even if you're doing transactions where you just need a ticket, we can automatically do the tickets for you, and we can also track 1099s. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing there, and I'm not trying to take over the mouse too much. It's just easier for me
No, that's fine.
go through that. So if, yeah, the lender is always going to be defaulted to you. This is where you can put a loan officer in.
Okay.
Okay. If you've got your loan officer last name. Now, the nice thing about having a loan officer in, okay, is the fact that you can now have a protocol if you want, or you can put anybody in that lending spot. That's at the thing. And they can be the people who approve before you fund. And I don't know what your protocol is. It might be that you don't have to have somebody sign off on a deal before it gets funded. But we have a whole protocol where you can hit the draw is complete, and then somebody can either go to the internet, like you just saw that inspector module, and they get an email and says, hey, you need to go and do your approvals, and they go into their completed queue and they just approve or decline, and it automatically synchronizes everything and sets everything up for you. Okay. Or there's different ways to do it without doing the internet. So just kind of give you that idea. Builder, same thing. I'm just going to put the same builder and I'm going to say the builder and the borrower are the same entity. So it's just kind of easy to do that. And primary inspector, we're talking about that inspector. We're going to make it Sherlock Holmes, because if we want to go see it on the internet, that's my test guy, and he's already logged in. Okay. And then from there, the processor, I'm the one who logged in and created this project, so it's me, but I can always switch me out for somebody else. So if I've got a processor who all they do is import new loans into the system and then shuffle them off to somebody else, they can just go in and switch them out for whoever is going to really own this thing. Okay. Any questions so far?
That's good. Question about this interface here. This is a kind of a desktop application. Anyone who wants to set up loans, and you can't set up new loans via the web interface. Is that right? You have to have desktop access somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, getting some feedback here.
Yeah. They did a thing on they did a deal where once the phone you're using a GoToMeeting, I'm going to have to switch apps. When they did a thing on the phone where if somebody calls you on your phone, it kicks you into speaker mode on your phone, and it doesn't work. So I'm now on my on-air on my computer. So bear with me if this is bad, but otherwise I'd have to dial back in. So to answer your question, yes, you can't do, because we can't put entities in with, you know, social security numbers and all that. You cannot do anything on the web to create a new project. Okay. That's correct.
And I guess I was going to do architecture questions a little bit later, but how many people we need to have this installed on? Now let's do that later. I'll do that later. All right, keep going.
Okay, so
let's just do it now. If you've got a thin client like Citrix or some sort of a thin client, you can install it on a thin client and push it out with a URL to everybody on their desktop. If you want to, you can install, this program in visualbasic.net. So it's a really easy application because all you're doing is copying and pasting DLLs and a few other types of files in an install directory. All you have to do is just basically paste the install directory into somebody's C drive. There's no real install where it hits their registry or anything like that. So it's a simple way to maintain an application, and then the applications all then point back to the same SQL database.
Okay, and that database can be, how do we host that in the cloud so that people can access this thing pretty much wherever they are?
Well, your IT department can put that SQL instance, if they want to have a SQL instance in a cloud, then it goes through your network. It goes however you would connect to that through your cloud. Generally speaking, in Citrix, I mean, you basically, it just points back to the SQL server or MySQL that's sitting on somebody's PC, or, I mean, there's many ways to scale it. And that's more of an IT issue. I don't know the architecture that you have, but you can run this thing from a laptop, or you can go ahead and run everything from one laptop, or you can go ahead and chain them together depending on how you want to put your network. Do you have a network right now of how is it that you share other applications?
Okay, so we're not a bank, which means we don't have we don't have any on-premise servers or anything else like that. We have Office 365, for our email and our lots of other things. So that's all out in the cloud. If we have a desktop, something that multiple people need to access, we will generally install that on an Amazon workspace, which is a cloud desktop, and then people can log into that cloud desktop as necessary from whatever computer they're on. So we don't have an IT department.
So, well, I have a great IT department. So what I need you to do is to go ahead and write down your specs of what you've got and what you want to do, and we'll come back with a way that we suggest to architect it. Okay? How about
all right.
All right. If you're using Amazon products, like our the server that we use for the web portal is AWS. Okay. But if you're using an Amazon web service, which is basically a ripoff of Citrix and the rest of that stuff as a thin client, obviously you can put the AccuDraw application there. Okay. Now, if there's a database component to that, I'm pretty sure that they figured out how to put a database and up on AWS, and it goes to your web service as well. I mean, it just has to, because it's a pretty simple thing to put a bladed server with your instance of SQL up there, because we've got a bladed server with an instance of SQL. Now have it connected to your apps on your Amazon portal would be hard to do. Okay, it's just a point it's just a point. And obviously then you guys are keeping yourself in your own VPN, right? So that's where it is. Okay, so we can add more. We talked about the fact that you want to put a title company, processors, anybody like that, inspectors on top of, or appraisers, more than that, more lenders, more sources of funds, however you want to do. You can add onto this grid, okay? So you can have a pretty big group of entities associated with a project, all right? Any questions about what you see here? These are the people that are enabled to work with us on the internet.
When a borrower, how does a borrower submit a draw request? Is the web thing, so the web has some interactivity. It's not just a read-only type of display thing. The borrower can submit something on the web. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, why don't we get you to build a project, and so that we can then have the builder log in and do the draw request and the inspector to the inspection, and you can go ahead and jump up and down and go, yay,
okay,
this is cool.
Good. So what am I doing?
All right. We're going to go to options next, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Okay, so do you guys use retainage at all?
Describe what that is, so that I can answer it.
Okay, so Well, I hope you don't use it, but there's some
All
banks
right, what is
that do
it? Tell me what it is, because I've heard that term before.
It's where, so basically, in the old days, they used to do retainage because when they did the foundation used to be $10,000 to dig the hole, and they would put the dirt all, beside the hole, and they would go ahead and they'd bring out a big piece of equipment on a flatbed truck, and they would dig the hole, and then they'd put that equipment back on the flatbed truck and drive away because the cement guys need to come in. And then about 3 months later, they'd ask the guy to come back out with another piece of equipment and push some of that dirt back against all those stem walls and everything. And he wouldn't come back because the $300 that was left in the budget to do that wasn't worth his time. So they said, well, here's what we're going to do. You're going to ask for $9,000, okay, because you dug the hole, but we're going to retain, 20% of that money. So now we'll give you, okay, instead of 10,000 or whatever, we're going to give you only 8,000. And we're going to hold back 2. And so that'll entice you to come out. Well, nowadays, people come out with bobcats in the back of the pickup trucks. It's no big deal for $300. So retainage is just a way of people doing stuff because that's what we used to do. Okay. So you don't do retainage. We don't have to worry about it. Okay. If we did have retainage, there's some things that filters that are put on. Basically, everything in here, I don't think you guys are going to want to do. Do you allocate funds out of the budget for inspection? Like they pay up front for the.
No, that's oftentimes collected at closing or paid separately.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that do they collect it at closing for 6 inspections, and then if they had a 7th inspection, you'd want to
Yes,
charge
that does
for
happen. Exactly that.
So there you go. So we're going to put in 6.
Okay, you can have 6. Otherwise, we're going to charge you. All right, got it.
Right, and then if you had 6 day downs with the title company, that's that. So now we know after 6 things, a pop-up box is going to come up and go, bingo, guess what? You better charge me for it, okay? If we're going to tie into the backend system, this is where we would do that. So this option box, some of this stuff would go away for you. You wouldn't have it visible, right? As a matter of fact, the new UI, you won't even see this option tab anymore. So project notes, this would be the notes that you would type, copy and paste, okay, in whatever you want to on the project, okay? Any kind of specific things any processor would want to know, all right? And obviously we can rename these title boxes, or we can go ahead and give you more boxes if you want to have 3 instead of 2, or just one big one, all right? Any questions on that? All right, good. So I'm not going to worry about project quotes. You won't even see that tab on your version. I've got a demo version, which kind of gives me more tabs than most people want to see. This is where you're going to have your budget. How do you get your contractors' budgets today?
Variety of ways, sometimes in a PDF file, sometimes in an Excel file. If you tell me that we need to standardize that so we can automatically import, we're open to that. So.
Well, you don't have to standardize anything, but I can guarantee if you get something from a PDF file, they went ahead and have an Excel because they had to make the PDF from it. So get the Excel file, all right, any type of Excel you want, all right? And then what you do is you can open it up and you say, okay, on the Excel spreadsheet, what column had the line item reference number? What column was the description, like for drywall, all that? And then what column had the budget amount in it, okay? And then all you have to do is just hit import, and that entire spreadsheet will fly into AccuDraw.
Yep.
All right. If you have standard forms, because some people want to have forms for certain things like that, they can go ahead and they can load standard forms that they have. I just kind of use a standard budget because the numbers are easy and there's line items most people recognize.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Now you can obviously build it. If somebody gave you a cocktail napkin with the, that they put on the top of their pickup truck with a crayon, you can obviously throw that on your desk and you can put in line items by scratch too, just like you would build in Excel, right? Let me just kind of explain to you a little bit about how the budget's put together. It'll automatically give you line item reference numbers, which is basically numbering the amount of line items you have, or you can go custom, and that is where you can put in, like if the builder's got 45/82 or whatever for their line item reference numbers, okay? But basically, most people now just are just 1 through whatever it is. Okay. Anything in green you can edit. You can edit, you can put anything you want to. It'll automatically always default to uppercase. So if you put something in as lowercase, I want to put drainage and then the word and backfill, okay? And I'll do it in, so if I do it in all lowercase and I save that, it'll automatically put it in uppercase, okay? So it makes it look uniform and nice. Line item budget amounts, all you do is use the keypad on your keyboard and you just go down through and, pop in numbers, okay? Pop them in, just hit enter, it goes down. So it's pretty simple. We have special line items if you were using a back-end service payment or something where you can have these come out of certain GLs or general ledger accounts other than the loan, or go into different, accounts other than just the borrower's account. So that's what these little asterisks and stuff are for. And those are all in a little special line item library right here, okay? So I'm just kind of giving you an overview quickly. Stop me if I'm going too fast. Each line item is separated into inspectable or non-inspectable items. So therefore, if the inspector went online, he would not see, the lot on his sheet. And he wouldn't see plans and specs on his sheet. And he wouldn't see any of these items on his sheet. Those are items he wouldn't do. Now, you can automatically say he can see them, but he's not going to be able to give you a amount for them, okay? So there's two ways you can do it. You can say, here's the entire budget, but the only things you can inspect are those items that are inspectable. You can only give me numbers, okay? All right, that's it. Budget amount, draw amount. Okay, so here we are. We got the budget in at $76,000. It's a different, I've got my hard and soft categories in. I've got different categories that I can do. Do you ever do it where the lot or whatever is paid out of the borrower's funds, so it's an equity item?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay,
interesting.
so I can mark that.
Uh-huh.
I can now have that. Okay, so now I have equity, soft, hard. And the nice thing about equity is that there's no way a processor can take money out of the loan. Okay, you can only take money out of the equity you're backing. For any item.
What if we've just got an equity dollar amount, where they have to put in the first 15,000 bucks?
I love that. Okay, so let's do both. Okay, we'll go ahead and say he's going to pay for the lot, and then he's going to have to pay for the first $15,000 of anything you can draw.
Okay.
All right. So we got our budget in. I'm going to say that the budget's in here at $76,000. Okay. So now the last tab I really have to fill out is the sources of funds screen. Okay. So I've got a borrower, base construction, and I've got the primary lender. All right. And they're going to bring in $20,000. And that's going to be their input. Okay. $5,000 for that lot and $15,000 money we're gonna have before we get to our money, okay? And then you guys obviously have the balance, which is going to be, I would think I can do this number in my head, $56,000, which is the loan amount, right? Which is going to be you. So now we've got $76,000 and $76,000, and if I need to look at that, I will go to my reconciliation screen, my information, and if I made a mistake and put in numbers that were too big, I'm going to have red stuff, okay? Red stuff's never good. Red stuff means that I've got funds of $76,000. That means all the money I put in here, okay? And it is not going to be sufficient to the budget that I have of $958,000, but of course, because I'm hand-fisted with my keyboard, I didn't mean to do that. So I meant to do this. But now I've got a $7,200 surplus, so obviously I need one more zero, okay? And now I'm at zero. So what AccuDraw really is great at is telling you if you are not in balance and if you have a problem, how to fix it.
All right, cool.
Okay. So basically this is closing, okay? This is what we had when we put the new project in. We call this draw zero. This is getting the project in. It was closed on the 1st. And on the 1st of the month at closing, they paid for that lot. So now I can give that amount of money in the budget, okay? I can go ahead and deduct that, show that it came out then, all right? And I also have what we call a draw file area where I can add all of the files, all the closing files that I want to, and all the, you know, the HUD statements or whatever you want to put in that filing cabinet for that closing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. From there, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the first job. All right. And now, oh, here what we're going to do is, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it up. And then I forgot to do one thing. I forgot in our sources of funds, okay, I forgot the fact that we have all of the equity. We're going to have all the equity go out first, okay? And I'll show you how we'll do that. So now you want to know how does your draw, how does the draw get initiated? Is the builder that initiates the draw, or is it the inspector, or do you?
Borrower generally will be initiating things.
Okay. So, and how do they do that today? Do they give you a spreadsheet?
Yeah,
or?
right now we use title companies. Each title company has a slightly different spreadsheet or form that needs to be filled out.
Okay.
So it usually comes via email.
Right. So they'll email you in something, and then you guys have to
Yeah.
deal with it that way.
Yep.
Now, do you want the borrower to be able to go ahead and just fill out the amounts of money he wants?
That would be
online,
helpful,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
that would be easy. Right. So what we do is we go to the activity log and we go ahead and say, we're just going to request that draw from the builder. Meaning, and all it does really basically is send out an email request that says the draw is open. Anytime they're ready, they can go ahead and go on and draw it. Okay. So now you're going to see a date timestamp that says I did that. All right.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So now all I have to do is leave and go work. Okay. Now the red line I want to show you means that my draw was locked because I was in it. Okay. If anybody else was working outside of me, okay, and was in and looked at the entire database, they'd know what project I'm working in. Okay. That's all that red line means. Now we're going to go ahead and so as a processor, I'm just going to go work on other things because it's out now to the borrower to do their work. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to change over and look at the website now. Okay. So I'm going to go over and we're going to go to the website. Okay. And we're going to log in as the builder or the borrower, however you want to do it. Okay. And they're going to log in and they're going to look at all their projects. And your project happened to be 101 Main. And that's what the builder or the borrower would see, okay, because they're good persons both. So right now, they want to go ahead and they want to add notes to you. They can say, hey, move $3,000 from okay, line 3, all right? So you can see here where this is coming, okay? So if they're going to draw the first $15,000, they're going to I want $2,000 here, okay? And I want $7,000 there. Now what they've asked for is they've asked for you to move $3,000 from contingency up to this line because they know that they blew it by $2,000. Let's just say, let's make it move 2,000. Okay. Okay. Again, for the computer, we have a drag or drop because you can drag stuff over and drop it. Okay. You can actually drag this into this file and you can drop things and it'll upload. Okay. And now we don't have to worry about internet or any connectivity because they're using on their PC. If it was on their phone, it would just be that upload button that you saw before. Okay. So there they have the files in here. They have everything else in here. Is there any questions? There's no more that the builder can really do other than print out a report of what he's done, or if he wanted to, he could have gone ahead and downloaded a Excel spreadsheet that he could go ahead and copy and paste from his builder line, software or whatever, that same information, and then just batch and just just dragged it and dropped it into an upload queue, and it would go up. So either way, whether they do it on a worksheet or whether they do it in the actual project itself, it's up to
And
them.
is that online view similar to what if we wanted someone from a title company to somehow interact, is this similar to what a title? Are there different views based on who you are?
Yeah, so obviously the inspector can't get,
Inspector's different.
Inspector is different because they can't get at the. And also builder, I mean, a borrower, we can go ahead and turn off the fact that they can't even see certain things. All they can see is maybe this top box here, okay? So you have the ability to filter out things. You can also have the borrower see everything, but they're not enabled to interact. They can only read it and print it, okay? The title company, you can have them so that they can actually put the draw amounts in with the builder. They can put in the soft cost amounts, date downs, or whatever they want to. It's up to you how you want to go ahead and work with them. But each portal that you send over, you can modify depending on that entity type.
So we could give a title company access to budget adjustments.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they would adjust the budget. Okay. And and we've got some pretty cool stuff that we can do for you on that. But once the builder is done, this is just kind of my overall, demo guide. So basically, once we've done this work, all they do is hit submit. Okay. And it's like submitting their ATM request. So now it goes ahead and locks it, and it's been submitted now. So they can still give you files, okay, and they can still add to their notes, but they can't ask for any more money. And that's pretty crucial because now we want to have the inspector go out there. We certainly don't want the builder to come back and add money to the draw if the inspector, is out with a static sheet, or if you now started to move forward, okay? All right. So once they're done with that, they just go back to all projects and they can go do, any other draws they want. The nice thing is that as long as they're active, okay, they learn really pretty quick. Anything that's active, I can draw on.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Once they go ahead and turn it green, that means they've done it. So if you've got a builder that's got 3 projects, every month he wants to be able to hit all 3 of those so that he turns green every month. That green means I get paid. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that when he hit submit, the processor back at the ranch, got an email that just said that Blaze Builder just submitted 101 main, okay? And you're going to be like, okay, great. What do I do with that? Well, you don't even have to read the email if you don't want to, because what I'm going to show you here is we're going to come back to the application. And you're going to see that when you were working, you came back and your 101 main turned orange. And orange means I've got stuff that came in from either the inspector or from the builder or the title company. So I'll double click on that project, and it'll take me to what I need to do. First of all, it wants me to get those 3 available files that they uploaded. And that's those. Remember they gave us those pictures and documents. Okay. And then it wants me to acknowledge the draw, okay? So that means acknowledge it. And now I've got this $2,000, and that doesn't look good. So I can go to my draw notes, okay? So if I'm in my draw information, I can go to my draw notes, and it says, oh, move 2,000 to continues in line 3. That's easy. I'll take 2,000 from that, minus 2,000. And I'm going to move it up here to my contingency. So I got that. All right, so that took care of that. And I'm not red anymore. Remember before when I had that, I was upside down and it looked like that. And that's not a good thing, okay? So we want to make sure we don't have those little things hitting there. That's that.
All right.
Okay? And obviously my activity log, I went ahead and I got the draw update, okay? And that's when I acknowledged the draw, but this is when I received it, okay? At this date and time. So now I think you want to go ahead and have the inspector go
Yes.
out, right? Okay. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. If you want to give inspection information to the inspector, you can go ahead and pop notes in here to him. If you just want to go ahead and say, yeah, just go for it, you can just go ahead and say request inspection from inspector here. So it's up to you, however you want to do it. Let's put some notes in. Hey, get out of the truck. then you can go ahead and say request inspection. Pop. And this little box that pops up here appends the automatic email. So if there was something that you want him to read in that email, you can do that. Okay, so that would mean that he was going to get an email that says, please go inspect, here's the link, and then it would say, another note would be the builder's number, okay? And that just goes out as an aside if you want to append the automatic email that goes out. Now, once you've done that, you've got your date timestamp now, you're good. Again, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to go back out and go work on some other projects, and as you can see, that orange line goes off, so now I've got some other orange lines that I need to go into and start working on to queue up. So as you can tell, I am just now managing the flow of information. I'm going from color to color to color.
All right, so
right?
Tim, I don't think I can stop you. I've seen enough that anything else I can probably learn during training, so I don't need to take more of your time with the features. I've now reminded myself that it's going to do anything we need it to do. Do you mind if I ask some questions about implementation and integrations and all that?
Hey, it's your question. I'll answer.
All right. Implementation, how long does that usually take? We sign a contract. When are we up and running?
I mean, literally I can tell JT or Steve to go ahead and give you the install package on a share file today, and it goes over on an email, and it's got directions in it and MSI, and you can install it, and within 15 minutes you can be up and running. Okay, I mean, it just zips and goes. Now there's some things that you'll probably you and I will want to configure. How do I want to set up my users and all that, and that's part and parcel. That would take probably another 15, 30 minutes to set up your teach you how to put users in. Okay, which is go in and assign new users to your people in, and what their security arrangements are, what do they get to do versus what else other people get to do. Okay, so basically that's about it as far as configuration. All right, and if we're going to do that Amazon stuff, we're going to have to probably do a little research for you to give you a manual on how to install it there. So that would be
that's good.
And one of the nice things about we'll go ahead and actually help you install it. So if it's on that Amazon thing, we'll just do a meeting and get into your portal and work with you to get it.
Let me see. We already got a price quote. Just remind me. Is that I think you price on a some kind of an upfront fee and then a per loan fee. So it's not a per user or per seat basis. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so you can literally have as many users, as many builders, title companies, as you can scale this thing as much as you want, and it'll never cost you another dime.
Let me see. Is there some training that we need to go through or available, or how does that work?
Okay, so the training is going to be that the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn what it is you want to do with the tool. So that's the most crucial part of the training is what is your business flow, and then we'll teach you how to use the tool to go to your business flow, and we'll give you a few little insights as to possibly some things that you may want to consider to make it a little bit more efficient. So as we learn your business flow, if there's something that we can suggest to you that would round off an edge or make something a little bit more efficient, it would be just a suggestion. At that point in time, that doesn't take long, okay? Because there's so many blades on the Swiss Army knife, you're not going to use all of them, okay? You're just not. So give you a manual and say, here, have at it. You're like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. Let's just teach you how to use the tool. And then from there, you get all of that type of training you want. It's always free. And then as you go forward, you're going to say, hey, what happens if we want to put the title company in the mix? Well, then, you call us up and say, what would you suggest that we do with the title company? And then we'll train you how to kind of work with the title company once we learn what you want to do with them. And then it's pretty simple. And then after that, you never call us because everything else is pretty intuitive and the add-ons are pretty intuitive. And, and then all of a sudden I'll say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a long time. How you doing? And you go, hey, you want me to teach you how to use your product? Because I know it better than you.
Okay. There are some integrations with like loan origination software, servicing software, right? Is there a list of those? Like, what are the main ones, or how does that work?
Okay, so how we do something really simple. When you
Yeah.
have a loan origination system, they've got a CSV file that can dump out of that. Okay, and we can put together, we can automate that. And what we do is when you go ahead and have that, there's a certain you can either do it manually. Okay, if it dumps a file to you and you go, here's my 5 loans import, it'll automatically show us where the loan is, and you just say import, it'll import them in. Okay, you don't have to fill anything out. If it's something that you want to set up automatically, I'm sure in that Amazon thing, they've got a thing called a Windows task, okay, that they're running, or a task that you run. It'll just go ahead and pop a batch file, and it'll just go ahead and look in that folder every hour where you're where you're putting your loan origination data. You got to import. And then that's that. As far as the exports, we'll talk about that as well. But that integration, I will tell you, many people talk about, like, I don't really want to have all that integration and stuff. And let me show you really what you get for that. You get this field filled out. You get that field filled out. You might have a property type filled out. Okay, you might do that. You're going to get the address for sure. You're going to get the borrower information. Okay, you're going to get that information in. But you're not going to but you're still going to have to come in and pick the builder, unless the builder and the borrower, you're still going to have to pick them, and you're going to still have to pick your inspector, okay, and your title company or whatever. You probably, very rarely do you get any notes. You won't get your budget at all, okay, at all, and you're going to get your loan amount, and you might have the equity if the equity is put in. So those fields right there that that we're talking about are nice to have. But the biggest time consumer is this right here, is putting that in. I can put the other stuff in faster than probably, getting it in the loan origination system. The question is, what am I doing with this? And that's the import of the budget, or if I have to fine tune it because I have to add a few line items on for the soft costs that they don't have included, with the title company or whatever.
All right.
Okay.
All
right. So we do it all the time, and it doesn't matter what loan origination system it is. They're all pretty agnostic. All we do is every single one of them has an export utility.
I think that's it. I'm going to write you an email with my technical questions about Amazon and all that, and that will give you an opportunity to respond to that. And then
I'll have a really wonderful guy, Steve, who will coordinate with you on that.
Okay.
He'll work with you to get that.
Good. I think we've got everything we need. Steve, do you need anything else?
No, I'm good. Appreciate the time.
Okay. Well, guys, enjoy Minnesota,
Thank you.
all right? And I'll look up my Russian history, and I'll so I have something
Okay,
in common.
good. You'll hear from us soon with questions. All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tim.